Okay, this is the third part. We will implement the scripts of the API. I was saying APA in the last video, I'm sorry. Um, since we are not dealing with matrix yet, I'm going to hide it. So we will just focus on these two questions. I'll start with the first one. But before we can uh, do anything here, we should start creating a submit button. So I'm gonna click on the panel, which is this uh, gray area here that is holding the UI questions. Click with the right button, UI text. Oh, sorry. Click with the right button, UI button. So that button is over there. This is the game view. I cannot edit anything here. So I'm going to go to the scene view. There are two ways we can move this button. One is clicking on while it's like selected like this, we click on the center of the object and drag it, right? Or we can use the rect transform component to make sure that it's very well aligned. I'm going to do that. Click here on the rect transform uh, area. This option opens. You have all the corners and areas and whether it's going to stretch or not. I don't want the button to stretch. I want the button to be attached to the right top right corner. So top right. For me to attach this, I have to hold Shift and Alt. Can you see that it changes? Shift, Alt. I don't know the buttons in Mac. Maybe Options, or I don't know. So you have to try over there if you are a Mac user. So hold Shift and Alt. Can you see that the square here in these mini windows, they move? Currently, the square is in the middle of the entire canvas. But if I hold Shift and Alt, it changes to the position of each, and I want it to be top right. Ta-da! Great. I can also now give some space, like, because it's super attached to the very top right corner. I can put like 5, no, minus 5, minus 5, and minus 5 here. It's not a touching uh, in the very. I can also put 10, minus 10. Minus 10. All right. Name text submit. Color black, bold. Do we have another one? No, no, just Arial. Okay, good. All right. Let's make this button a little bit bigger. So height 45. I'm gonna rename a button so it's gonna be submit, and submit object is of the type button, and button label type text. Right now we have a button. Great, yay! So according to the instructions of the tutorial, we need to put the question script on the parent game object that holds the options of possible answers. For example, we are in, I'm gonna hide this Likert scale because I just wanna focus on the drop down. So the drop down object comes with these three children: label, which is written here in the middle. I adapted that last video. Arrow, which is this mini arrow here to show that it's going to open down, and template. Template is currently disabled because the drop-down works in runtime. What is runtime? When we hit play. So if I hit play here, I can click and then all the options appear. The previous video I showed how to put the options, right? So we don't have to do anything with these three children here. So going back to the um, tutorial, we need to put um, the question script on the parent game object in the hierarchy. There are many ways of doing that, so I'm going to show all of them. I'm going to close these components here because I need to space. Oh, it's already here. Let me undo this, remove component. Okay. The first way is dragging and dropping. So we can click in the script folder, the script we want, and we can drag and drop onto the object that is the parent object, which is the drop down. Can you see that the cursor changes to an arrow with like another arrow? It means that I'm gonna drop here. Uh, the caveat of this way is like you gotta be very specific to drop the item you are dragging, which is the question script, on top of the very object here. So use this background shader, like it gets a little lighter, to help you visualize which one you are selecting. I want drop down, so I'm gonna let go. Ta-da! If I click drop down now, I have the component added here. Now I'm gonna delete this component, remove this component, and I'm going to the second type. The second type also involves dragging, but it's easier. We will drag from the project folder here over the inspector, but it needs to be also precise. I cannot because I need to select the game object in the hierarchy. For example, here it's drop down, because once it's selected, the inspector is showing me the drop down components. So I need to click once and hold in the question like this. I clicked and hold, and now I'm gonna drag here. Can you see that the cursor changes again? Let go, you inserted. I'm gonna remove this now to do it again. There is a variation. Let me open here just the drop down. Sometimes, all of them, most of the times, all the components are open like this. So you have to scroll down in the inspector window to see the very bottom. And in the very bottom of the inspector window, you have the add component. So we can click this button because I am in the drop down. Can you see the name here? Drop down object inspector. And once I click the add component button, I can type here the name of the script I want, which is question. See? I just put Q and U question is here. So I click here, ta-da, it's added. So there are many ways of doing the same thing in Unity. I and Dr. Bodzin would recommend for everyone to use the add component button because it eliminates the dragging and dropping uh, precision required to drop in the specific place. Okay, so I added the question. Now, the second thing we have to do is to add the redcap var name, the variable name. According to this script, let's take a look at the redcap survey script. I'm going to open the script. The drop-down question that Dr. Bodzin set up in redcap is item 1. That's the name of the variable. So we need to put the exact name here, item 1. And what type is this question? It's a drop down. So I click here, drop down. Ta-da! Yeah, I think I may be forgetting something, but let's see. If I'm forgetting, we'll see at the end. Now I'm gonna put the submit script on the submit button. Click the submit button, add component, not question now, we want to submit. Good. Submit is here. Then the second space is questions. How many questions are we submitting? 0? No. We can change this number to 1 or whatever. Actually, we are submitting 2 questions now because this example REDCap survey has 2. So I'm going to put 2 and press enter. Then you can open this question space here. It's going to show you 2 spaces for you to insert the questions that have the objects that have the questions script. We have just added the question script to the drop down. So element 0 should be drop down. I'm going to drag and drop. The next one we are going to add now. But we are still in the submit button, right? So the second thing we need to do in the submit button is, can you see that the submit button has a button component and a non-click event handler, but the on-click event handler is empty. So we click the plus sign, and then we need to drag the very submit button from the hierarchy because it is the object in the scene that has the script submit. So drag and drop here. Let me pull here. So we have the submit button in the on-click event. But what event do we want to, what function do we want to run? So we click this drop down and we go to the end, which is the submit component. And in the submit component, we will choose the send responses method. So send responses. So now you configure the button. Whenever we click it, it's going to submit, uh, run the send responses method from the submit script. The submit script that is attached to the submit button. All right. Now, let's set up the second one. Likert scale item with toggles. Going back to the first step, Nathan wrote in the documentation. We need to drop, let me open that. Here, select the parent game object where you want to implement the API. For example, drop down. We have just done the drop down. You have to select the parent game object that is holding the children objects containing the answers. Now, in this example, the children object are toggles. So let me open this text Likert scale. Likert scale toggles, and we have 5 toggles. So the toggles are the children. They are the answers, the objects containing the answers. So the Likert scale toggles is the parent. Oh, look at that. I had already put a question script here. I'm going to delete it, remove component, just to add it again in the three ways. First, drag and drop to the very object in the hierarchy. Let go, it's there. I'm going to delete it, remove it. Second, drag and drop into the inspector window. And the third, which is the recommended, is clicking the object, Likert scale toggles, add component, and then we type question. What is the name of the variable? This variable is going to be item 2 because it's the second example in our tutorial. Here, example 2, using a toggle group for creating a Likert scale item. And what is the format of this question? It's toggle, it's correct. I'm not remembering if I'm missing something. So let me see in the original tutorial if I'm missing something. Okay, it's not saying anything. The only bad thing here is that I'm not going to be able to show whether it was successful or not because I don't have access to this project in Redcap. It's under Dr. Bodzin's account. But we have set up our drop-down, our toggle. We might be able to test this. I'm going to save. We might be able to test and submit, and the console is going to print something. Maybe it's going to be record ID 1 because that's going to be the first test. Let's see. Let me remove the maximize. So the best RMC roller coaster is I don't know the answer, so Dr. Bozzing needs to forgive me. Let's see. Lighting rod. And the following qualities are important in my supervisor. Mm, is this a single? Yeah, this is a single. We should have, anyways, uh, honest because imagine if the advisor or supervisor is a liar. So now I have two answers, one from the drop down, here lighting rod, and one honest. And I'm going to click submit. There is something missing. Oh, there. I forgot to put the Likert scale object. Let's do that again. So in the submit button, remember this is empty. I need to drag the object that has the script, which is the Likert scale toggles. That's the parent of the children with the answers. Now it should work. Let's save, play. Lighting rod, honest. No, I don't want in maximize. Lighting rod, honest, submit. Ah, get drop down responses. See, I said that I was feeling something missing. I wonder if it's here on value change, just like the button. So we add, drag here the drop down, function, question, send, save button response. Save button response. Because now whenever we choose a drop down option, it's going to save the button response for the submit button to be able to send it to RedCap. Lightning rod, honest. I don't want to do it maximize on play again. I want to see here the console. Submit. Oh, again. So do we have to put in the toggle value change boolean? Okay, so every toggle needs to have this value change boolean. When we click the toggle, what's going to happen? We are going to go to the question script, save button responses. I hope it works now. If it doesn't work, the tutorial, textual tutorial is incomplete, but we can always see the other project, the one that Nathan and I did, because there it's fully working. Play, lightning rod, honest, submit. Mm-mm. So I'm missing something very big here, and I don't remember what it is. Let me see the issue. Question. I don't have the API key because Dr. Bozin put the API key only on his computer. In the submit script. Here, this API key is not the correct one. And Dr. Bozin didn't update the tutorial, so this is the same number we have in the tutorial. Look at that. I cannot I cannot test this because I don't have the API token, and like in the laboratory, Dr. Bodin didn't share that project with the laboratory account, so I cannot retrieve it as well. I can create here very quickly a new instrument called Red Cap Audio. I need it to be first because it has the record ID. Add field, select type, multiple choice drop down. I'm gonna copy here, and the choices are many. So I'm gonna say choice one, the name variable is test one. Let's see if it's only 6 options or not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's 5. Not add field. Edit. Add field. Toggle. Multiple choice radio button. Single answer. The following quality are important in my advisor. Supervisor. And this variable name is going to be test2. Quality 1. Save. So I created a very generic question here that has a drop down with the same prompt and a Likert scale with 5 options, but the same prompt for me to be able to test. The variable names now is test1 and test2, so I need to go back to Redcap survey and I'll change this item to test1 and test2. I hope it doesn't have this name. I'm gonna add something else so I don't run the risk of having similar names. Video test 1, video test 2. Here, variable 1, video test 1, variable 2, video test 2. So here's going to be video test 1, video test 2. Save. Hopefully it's going to work. Oh, let me just check if the API is the same. So I click here, API. Oh, I don't have the API for this project. What? This should be showing here. Okay, it's the same one. If it's not, this is the end of this video if it doesn't work. Just to check Redcap survey, I updated the script so unit is compiling again. I saved because this line here is green and there's no asterisk next to the name. I'm gonna run the test very quickly because if it doesn't work, I'll have to stop the video. It worked. Alright. I'll have to stop the video anyway because I have a meeting now at 7. Anyways, it's the API that is missing. I don't have access to that yet, but when I talk to Dr. Bodzin again, I'll get the access.